All right, so Liz Cheney has been officially ousted from her top position within the Republican Party, and I'm going to read you some of the details behind that as well as get into who's replacing her. But first, I just want to say this. There's obviously been this recent push from liberals and the mainstream media, especially CNN and MSNBC, where they seem to really want this idea of the noble Republican to succeed. They want the Bush-era Republicans, the Reagan-era and style Republicans, to be what the rest of the Republican Party strives to emulate. And why is that? Well, because they don't like the Trump brand of Republicans, not for any policy reasons whatsoever. If you know anything about the history of Liz Cheney and the people like her, with the policy agenda, the things that they have fought for throughout their careers, they've supported every war that's ever come across their desks. They support cutting taxes for the rich. They support gutting the social safety net. Go down every single list of policy issues. They're on the wrong side of them, and yet still Democrats and liberals, because they don't care about the policies, are elevating Liz Cheney and Republicans who simply admit that Donald Trump actually lost the election. They're elevating them as if they are some sort of like noble representation that everybody else should be striving for. And so I think it's complete bullshit. I think it's ridiculous because these people are terrible, and honestly, regardless of what the outcome of in the GOP civil war that's going on, we shouldn't want either side to win. We should be putting all of our effort into making sure that neither side wins against us, and yet that's not the mindset that they've been having. So here are some of the details as to her ouster from this position, and then we're going to get into more reasons why this is bullshit. So CNN says House Republicans voted on Friday to elevate Representative Elise Stefanik to the number 3 leadership position of conference chair after ousting Representative Liz Cheney from the role because she repeatedly called out former President Donald Trump's big lie that the 2020 election was stolen. So she's right, the election was not stolen, but is this the standard? I mean, is this all it takes to get heaping praise from the entire establishment media and from Democrats? Is that really all that it takes? This is the bare minimum. This is as little as you could possibly ask from somebody. And, you know, you can give her credit if you like, but I'm not going to waste my time giving credit or praising somebody that I don't want to see succeed in politics at all at any level. So continuing on, Stefanik, a high-profile Trump defender, faced a conservative challenger, GOP Representative Chip Roy, but his candidacy was viewed as a long shot, and the New York Congresswoman had the backing of House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy, Minority Whip Steve Scalise, and Donald Trump. The final result was 134 votes for Stefanik and 46 for Roy, according to multiple sources in the room, and the Congresswoman said in a statement after the vote that she is, quote, honored and humbled to be elected to the leadership post. House Republicans are united in our focus to fight on behalf of the American people and to save our country from the radical socialist Democrat agenda. So obviously that's horseshit. Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the leaders of the Democratic Party are not in fact radical socialists as much as I, as a radical socialist, would like them to be. Unfortunately, they're not. They're all basically moderate Republicans and are governing as moderate Republicans. Still, apparently, that's not enough for this GOP cult that we're talking about here. So let me get into some of the reasons as to why this is ridiculous. And this tells you everything you need to know about the conversation, okay? If I could boil it down to all of the complex issues behind this, if I could boil it down to one issue, it's this. Let's look at what Liz Cheney did in her voting record. 93% voting record in line with Donald Trump. A 93%. So Liz Cheney, okay, Donald Trump, Democrats, liberals, they love to paint him as the ultimate evil, okay, deservingly so, you could argue, but they don't care about the policies. It's just a branding thing. Republicans don't like Trump because he's a loudmouth and he says the quiet part out loud many oftentimes, and they don't like that side of him. They don't like him rhetorically. They don't like his style, but they have no issue with the policies. And so when you look at her 93% agreement with Trump, then what exactly are you praising Liz Cheney for? Because she's not some noble opponent to Donald Trump and his agenda. She's one of the biggest enablers of Trump's agenda. And even comparing it directly to Elise Stefanik, she has a lower record in voting in line with Trump. She votes with Trump less than Liz Cheney did. So this says so much about everybody that's involved in this conversation, and that's why I wanted to make this video, because one, I don't really care. Again, I don't care who wins the GOP civil war. It's already pretty much over. Donald Trump's wing of the party obviously won, and that's the only reason why Liz Cheney was ousted from her position is because of Donald Trump's fragile ego. But it shows you that Donald Trump has no regard whatsoever for policy. Okay, he has no real ideology. He has no real concrete policy agenda that he wants to advance in the future. It's just about his ego. And how do I know that? Well, I know that because if it was about the policy issues, then he would be supporting Liz Cheney. Since it's not about the policy issues and it's only about who, after the January 6th insurrection or after the November 2020 election, who would continue to jerk him off and protect his fragile ego from the acknowledgement that he did lose the election, that's what it was about. He simply is supporting Stefanik over Liz Cheney, not for policy reasons or for ideological ones, but just because she didn't say that, or Liz Cheney didn't say that Donald Trump won the election. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's the entire issue on the table here. So it says that Donald Trump doesn't care about the policy. Okay, that's nothing new. We all knew that. It also says the people on the Democratic side and the liberal media side don't understand the issue at all either, because they continuously, and it's been ridiculous over the last couple of weeks, how much they have elevated Liz Cheney and promoted her as if she is some sort of noble person. She's not, okay? She voted 90% in line with Donald Trump. So if you oppose Donald Trump, you should be opposing Liz Cheney just as much. But that's not the world that we're living in, apparently. And also, this isn't the first time that Democrats have even done this. We saw them aggressively promoting the Lincoln Project, which was just a collection of a bunch of conservatives who pushed the same Bush-style conservative party republicanism and just didn't like the face of Trump. They didn't like the branding of Trump. And obviously, the Lincoln Project, corrupt as hell, ended up collapsing into oblivion. But this is where we're at right now, okay? The entire political discourse in the United States, with the establishment side of the Democratic Party, the establishment side of the Republican Party, and the fringes of the Republican Party, it's just completely divorced from policy. The entire discussion has nothing to do with policy. It's all about protecting Trump's ego in this moment and into the future. And that's what the Republican Party is right now. They're just a giant cult, a cult of personality surrounding Trump. And anybody who dares to, say anything that might upset his ego is immediately ousted and pressured away from the party. And Liz Cheney might be facing some election challenges in her next run. So we'll have to see how this plays out. This is an update on the Republican Party. This is where they stand. It's 100% in control of Donald Trump. I'm not sure why so many people think that it's not, but this civil war is over. The Trump side of it won. They won it a long time ago. This is just confirmation of that. And again, it has nothing to do with policy. It's just a fucking cult.